Entrepreneurs set out with all kinds of objectives. Making money, of course, is often high on the list. And that's also true for Mark Marsolais-Nahwegahbow. But in a very particular way, his Birch Bark Coffee Company wants to fix the boil water advisories on all First Nations reserves in Ontario. And he's doing it a pound of coffee at a time. Mark Marsolais-Nahwegahbow is a member of the Whitefish First Nation on Manitoulin Island, and he joins us now with the details. So nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure to meet you. Just before we talk, I think it's probably worth it if we bring up some of the statistics so people can understand the kind of challenge that you're looking at right now. So Sheldon, if you would, let's bring this graphic up. There are, in the province of Ontario, a total of 64 water advisories at the moment. Of those, 30 are long-term. They've been in place for more than a year. 34 are short-term advisories. Of the total, 4 are do not consume advisories, and the federal government's goal for all of these advisories is to presumably and hopefully have them lifted by the year 2021. 64 water advisories in the province. Mark, when you hear numbers like that, what goes through your head?
It's kind of appalling because really, when you look at those numbers, it's only on the public water systems. You know, when we're talking numbers for our communities, you're talking over 600 nations in Canada, close to 200 in Ontario alone. And a lot of our communities are on well systems or off the grid, and they're not part of the public system, and those ones aren't reported on there with the numbers for the statistics.
So how many people are we talking about being affected by this?
Probably, you know, in Ontario alone, we're probably looking at 188,000 people. And I personally, in my opinion, believe that many of the communities and many of our people, the numbers are even higher than what they're quoting.
Let's see now if we can understand the connection between that situation and this package of coffee on the table here. Birch Bark Coffee, which you started a year ago, does what?
When I started this coffee company, that was the platform for dealing with the water advisories. And I should say too that I'm dealing with all water advisories, not just long-term, not just boiled water, all of them. So what I created was coffee that was very close to my communities, Inuit, First Nations, and Métis. So if you look at all the names, they're all resonate the communities that are part of my Indigenous roots. And so proceeds of my coffee go towards buying certified water purification systems that I'll install in every home in Ontario and then across Canada for free.
So you are not doing, you're not trying to do the big multi-million-dollar project that would serve an entire community. You're going one house at a time.
Yes, yes. When I did this, I knew that I didn't have the money to be able to tackle the federal government's responsibility of the water plants or lack thereof. But I can definitely try and bring the clean water into the home specifically in every one of the homes that are in need of clean water.
How do you do it?
It's well, when I put this together, it was a lot of time thinking about what was my passion, what was my purpose, what did I believe in, and I knew that because I already travel across Canada, and I was looking, you know, I knew of the water problems, but I didn't really know until I researched even more. And it just, as I researched, I soon learned how serious it was. And I was very lucky enough to have a lot of people come into my community, into my circle. And one of them was a water company that has been around for about 45 years, knows their stuff. They built water purification systems for Red Cross, the flood victims. So I pitched it to them. I said, look, I'm starting a First Nations coffee company. And I said, can you help me? And I said, I want to tackle the water advisories. Big wish list. And I basically said I want to do it selling coffee.
Well, let's do the math here. You sell coffee for how much?
So there's two sides to this, and I'm not a retail person, but I guess I am now. When I started this, I thank Shopify, Toby Shannon, and Harley, and the other Toby for starting me off on e-commerce. And when I started this, I could reach a lot of people through e-commerce. But as I went along, this momentum I gained, I had retail people reaching out to me saying, how can I get this coffee into my store? See, I created a social enterprise that's cause-driven with a pay-it-forward attitude. And this whole shift right now from corporate to social impact and being ethically responsible resonates with people, and it captured a lot of people's hearts, and
People want to do good in their purchases.
that's exactly what it is. So when they, and there's a whole story behind this coffee that I created, and what I call an Indigenous inclusion continuum, which, when you look at the continuum, the inclusivity of my coffee sourcing comes from the Indigenous people in Latin America, and brings forward helping me with my communities here in Canada.
Is that where you get the beans from?
Yeah, it's small producers, actually. I'm one of only 3 in Canada that actually have the SPP certification logo on the bags that's seen under Fair Trade Canada's certification.
Okay, so again, I want to go back to the math for a second.
Yes.
Each individual home,
Yes.
the
purification
system that you would get for each individual home,
Yes.
what would that cost?
So on my website, it's for every 50 bags, I'm able to provide 1 water purification system. So in the
50 bags this size?
50 bags,
Okay.
yes, for three-quarter bags.
So 50, but just for people listening on
Yes.
podcast, this is, it's a normal sized coffee bag here.
Yes.
And if you can sell 50 of these, that's enough
To buy
profit
one.
to buy 1 water filtration system per home.
Correct. And if you buy in a retail store, because retail buy in bulk, they get a lower wholesale cost. It's 100 bags. 100 bags in a retail store gets 1 water purification system. So just to give you a cost of the purification systems, if we went into a store, they're $300, and I get them for $97.
Aha. Okay.
So
Why do you get the deal?
because the person believes in what I'm doing.
They wanna help.
And they want to help. So it really gave me a playing field to be able to help my communities out. So
Gotcha.
that's where I'm at.
You told us earlier it's nearly 200,000 people who are affected by the water
believe
advisories.
so,
Okay.
still.
So you're going to, as you know, have to sell a hell of a lot of coffee in order to get a filtration system into each individual home. You're aware of this.
1.6 million people in Canada.
So you clearly are not daunted by the challenge, but it is an enormous challenge.
Yeah.
How far down the road are you right now?
Well, we've only been in business for just a year. So, half that year was really setting the foundation up and the framework for there's a lot of mechanics behind the wheels. Behind the scenes, I had to, bring staff, a small bunch of people to help.
Yeah, you're starting up.
Yeah, a startup company. And we started in Golden Lake.
Where's that?
Just near Pembroke, just on the outskirts of Pembroke. And
Eastern Ontario.
yes, yes. And when I went into this, I told people that we'd be filming and we'd be very transparent. And there's many layers to Birch Bark. And one of the layers for me is integrity. When I say I'm going to do something as a First Nations person, I'm going to go and help my communities out, because we've been misled and mistreated quite a lot. And it's part of self-governance and self-determination to make a difference in my communities. I came up with a slogan for the coffee making a difference.
Coffee making a difference. Okay.
So going into the communities, we did preliminary pre-testing in Golden Lake. So you have to test the waters. You have to go through protocol, asking chief and council, community, is this something that you want? And when we went there, it's off the grid. I didn't know that we were dealing with well systems there. There's no water plant. They're dealing with uranium. So I picked a doozer of a place.
They're dealing with uranium.
Uranium in the water, yeah. There's 50 homes that are shut down. 50 homes can't drink water.
Can your filtration systems get uranium out of the water?
Well, this is the transparency that I'm telling people. I'm going to hit roadblocks. I'm probably going to make mistakes, but I'm filming it. I'm showing people I'm real, and I'm not going anywhere. And I'll figure out a solution. I've got a good team. I've got people, environmental scientists that are assisting me. I'm going to fix it.
So how many homes are you in right now?
We're in 3 homes right now. I have enough. We've raised enough money for almost 90. I think we're at 95 units. Plus, I have another person that's just raised enough for 20 units. So it's another $2,000.
So you are really at the very beginning of this journey.
Very beginning of the journey.
And Mark, how do you decide what home gets a filtration system?
Okay, there's no rhyme or reason where I start, but I've had a lot of people reaching out to me in social media from all over the place, asking me to come and help out. And I didn't know where to start, and I figured I might as well start closer to home and see if I can deal with a lot of the communities close to home, within distance, driving distance, so that eventually I can move. As I gained the sales of the coffee, It is a lot of coffee I have to sell. I can gain movement and buy more purification systems. And when I started, as I said earlier, conservatively, just going into communities, maybe one or two, I'm getting to the point where it looks like there could be possibilities where I can actually go into a community and supply all the units with the amount of movement I'm gaining with the coffee company.
Now, I notice your labels are in both French and English here.
I'm ready for the big leagues.
Yeah. No, not in an Indigenous language, though, which is a little surprising.
I thought about that. There is a company up in the Northwest Territories that actually came out with a coffee that's indigenized, maybe down the road. But I provided something that was very, very user-friendly for people to read about the stories and so forth. And perhaps I was thinking about putting the actual traditional Ojibwe language on my website eventually.
Why'd you pick the name Birch Bark Coffee?
Well, that's interesting. People ask me that, and birch bark is pretty iconic. It's been a monumental tree in our communities for quite a few years. When you look at Manitoulin Island, I'm a band member of Whitefish First Nations, but if you look at the district, I'm in Birch Island, Ontario.
Birch Island, there are birch bark trees all over the
everywhere,
place.
and that's what.
Yeah. Can I show this? There we go. Camera 3. Which one's 3? There we go, right there.
That's why I called it birch bark.
And it says on there, Inukshuk ground. Yeah. What does that mean?
Inukshuk is my paying respect to the Inuit community, and the Inukshuk is pretty iconic in their communities, helping out about travelers, and it was also areas where they stored meat under the stones, but it was points where they could look at Inukshuks down the road where, kind of distances, like kilometers, for travel.
I see. Where do you actually make it?
Okay, so that's the cool story. I can't really afford a roaster. I'm not rich enough yet, but so what happened was at the same time, a lot of really, I call it faith, I guess, or fate, where people came into my circle to help me. And I met Just Us Roasters out of Nova Scotia. They're a cooperative. They put people before profit. And it was important that their values and beliefs were very close to mine. And they were. And we hit it off like great. And actually, I should tell you, as I was thinking about this, the labels, so I give back as well. So there's another cool story about the coffee is that there's a company called Flower Cart in Hortonville, Nova Scotia, near Wolfville. And the Flower Cart employs people with mental disabilities and handicaps, and they personally put my labels on my bags for me.
Nice.
So,
can I ask you a bit about you?
Yes.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from Ottawa. My parents moved around a lot. I spent half my life on Birch Island, traveling back and forth. My parents would drop me off there.
Birch Island as in?
Manitoulin
close
Island,
to Manitoulin
Whitefish
Island.
River First Nations, and I lived up there for a bit with my family. And then I worked my way back through Sudbury, living in Sudbury for a bit. And
you got a legal background too, yes?
No, actually, social services.
Okay.
I come from a family of lawyers and doctors and judges, and but I was more social services and social justice.
You have been a social justice activist, though, I mean, presumably for many, many years.
Yeah, 25 years.
25 years. Why, the approach that you're taking here, a more entrepreneurial approach to helping people, is sort of different from a typical social worker's approach.
It is.
Where'd you get the notion to go in this direction?
It's all about truth and reconciliation for me. It's about, it's telling the truth. Before we even get to reconciliation, whether it's on social injustices or, what I do with the Glad You work I do, or with the coffee, dealing with the water advisories, it's all about reconciliation and really.
You dropped a word there that we should explain. You said the Glad You work, G-L-A-D-U.
Oh, yes.
Better tell people what that's a reference to.
So Glad You is it's a report that people that are facing incarceration. Are eligible for a report that basically tells historical events in their life that can explain why they became involved in the judicial system. But more so, some of the impacts I've had is that Glad You is a word that's on the westernized colonialistic judicial system. It's never been, again, empowering our communities to take back, because the only thing that's in the Criminal Code of Canada is a 718(2)E. referral, and it's referral to Aboriginal people. So what I did was I changed the wording to sacred stories, because doing over 200 reports, I realized that the impact of these reports were pretty special, and they do two things. One is they're factual to the justice system, but they're also a healing journey for the individual that's having the report written about them. So I refer to it as a sacred story because it's a mirroring of who they are.
Do you think there's any possibility of, say, getting Starbucks or Second Cup to buy about 10 million bags of this stuff?
Well,
That'd help. That'd buy a lot of water filtration, you know?
yes, it would. I believe I'll be up beside Starbucks eventually. The movement that I've created is my social media is just, it's gone off the Richter scale. LinkedIn alone, I have over 10,000 people following me, and I can't even keep track of. One of our email sites had over 5,000 emails, and my wife and I have been trying to muster through them to answer them. And but I think I'll be up there, and the thing I'll do is the coffee will be a movement to give back to my communities and make a change on a national level.
It's, I mean, do you intend to devote the rest of your life to this? Because it may take the rest of your life devoted to this to make some headway against this problem.
Well, it depends on, and I guess by being a voice for many of my communities and coming out on social media and TV and that, I have a lot of bigger companies now that have approached me without naming them. So we'll see where it goes. In less than a year, I sit at the table sometimes knocking on wood going, how did this ever happen where these people have contacted us? So I have some decisions to make. But I think that I believe I will be able to tackle it within X number of years.
We're here in April 2019. By New Year's Eve, how many more homes do you think you can have filtration systems into?
Depending on what happens with some of the decisions that I make this year, it could be substantially quite a lot, like in the hundreds.
In the hundreds?
Yes, in the hundreds.
So you tackle this problem one house at a time.
Yes,
There you go.
one bag at a time selling.
One bag at a time, one house at a time. We thank you for coming into TVO tonight.
Thank you so much.
We are happy to remind everybody that Birch Bark Coffee is coffee making a difference. And it has brought Mark Marsolais-Nahwegahbow to our studio here in Toronto tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.